feeling down on your ism, right? Play this shit right here and resuscitate your pimping and get you right back on your mission, right? For you hoes, it's that shit you play when you ain't feeling like super hoe today. Play this shit right here and spark up your hoeing and get you right back going, you dig? Dig this. Pimps for real, don't mistake it for fashion. The turf that birthed my reputation for mashing was the track with active, attractive hoes. Professional goers that attract the dough. Like magnets to metal, never settle. We scorching them fag bitches pedal for them portions. My whores win it all. Not the ones on the sideline wishing but didn't ball in the guidelines. My bitches did it all. Down 7 below in the snow for dough. Over 120 in the sun for fun. They mash for hours, hooker baths, not showers. Bright and early, down and dirty for the cash and power. They gotta get the cash, the towers, and reach it all to a pimp. In my position, I'm all but exempt. These bras not wimps, I'm like them renegade bitches. BFFs with tricks but never getting paid bitches. Grenade bitches, they dynamite. Blowing up on the pimpin' and missing when the time is right. But when they life gets strife, they see pimpin' shining bright. But they action is life without. Bitch, one strike, you out. Oh, can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. See, that's the difference, nigga. The pimpin' mashing for these riches, nigga. Nothing like you master magician, niggas. Smoking mirrors with your game. Hella extras to reflect the opposite appearance of a lame. Bitches coming from y'all, I can't rock the doors. Tender-footed and rooted in them doctor shows. Soft shoe rituals, minute residuals. Papers on life support, your loots and critical. Something I learned about with running my earn route. Get working with turnouts is murdering burnouts. Knocking one of you niggas for a scar, bitch. That's knocking one of you niggas for some garbage. I'm heartless regardless. Empty with sympathy, but banked up to the max with pimpathy. No remedy for me, I'm like this. My life is vice grip synced in permanent ink. You can't rewrite this. My blood type is P positive, beautifully deposited with a lot of it. I'm popping this shit, and when I pop it so hard. I make a trapping ass bad bitch wanna hold hard. Can't stop, won't stop. Popping pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Popping pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Popping pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Popping pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Come on, pimpin', man, pop that shit. Show these sucker niggas that can't stop that shit. Let these hookers know if they wanna cop that shit. Treat the bag like it's hot, bitch, and drop that shit. Dig. And to you hoes, if you ever took a loss, bitch, show these bitches how to bounce back like a boss, bitch. Let them know that the best way to floss, bitch, is reach that paper to some pimpin' hoe and toss it. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Poppin' pimpin', nigga. Can't stop, won't stop. Smashing on these bitches, nigga.
Top of it. I see y'all tapping in with a pimp this afternoon. Okay, what's up with it, man? Y'all already know who it is and what it is and all that good shit. Y'all already know the first order of business around this thing, man, what we do around here around this time, man. We put this good old love shit in our body, man. Like so. If you haven't wiped your feet off at the door when you stepped into a pimp's domain, please do so now. What I mean by that, man, hit that icon that look like that thumbs up button. I got the camera kind of looking down on the pimp right now, but I don't feel like adjusting that shit right now. I still might do it though, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Hold on. Get this camera game together. This angle game. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. That's a little better, man. We're gonna chop and pop this game, though, man. Cheers to the game. Yeah, you know, it always tripped me out how so many motherfuckers are so pimpish. I'm talking about the most pimpish motherfuckers that you could ever meet, that you'll ever see in this game. You know, got all the pimp etiquette in the world. But boy, when it come down to the bitch, motherfuckers become the most unpimpish individual that you can ever see in your life. You wouldn't even know the motherfucker was a pimp. Hold on. Okay, now we on point. Let's get my setup together, man. Excuse my pimping. But yeah, man, you know, it's funny because for some odd reason with a lot of cats, right? You got certain individuals that get a whole lot of respect in the game, a whole lot of love in the game, all that type of shit, right? And, you know, of course it'll be somebody that's doing their thing, shining, having money, you know, having plenty bitches, all the shit, right? And they'll have all the respect and love in the game that you could get. But everybody will kind of like unanimously understand that this motherfucker here, you know, he the most pimpish individual in the world until it come down to that bitch getting knocked by somebody for the bitch, or even somebody else sweating the bitch, you know, or the bitch getting out of pocket with somebody else breaking on the bitch, anything like that. This motherfucker turned into the most unpimpish individual in the world. He be ready to get violent. He be ready to fight. You know what I mean? He gonna start telling lies on the bitch to make sure that you don't want the bitch. You know, he gonna start lying to the bitch about you to make sure the bitch don't want you. All type of weird shit, right? But like I said, these type of dudes, it's a lot of them that get a whole lot of love in this game. Then you have other motherfuckers that's not so popular in the game, right? They get money having bitches and all that type of shit too. But for some reason, they not the most popular individuals in the game. Motherfuckers don't really care for them too much. And they got all the pimp etiquette and all that shit in order as well. But this unpopular motherfucker, he know how to keep it pimping when it come down to that bitch. If he get knocked for the bitch, he gonna keep it all the way pimping. He gonna give you the whole facts. He gonna tell you the bitch's flaws. He gonna tell you the bitch's good qualities, all the shit. But for some reason, them type of dudes be a lot of times the most unpopular motherfuckers in the game, you know, and it's a trip because this just goes to show you that when it comes to this pimping, it's a whole lot more to it than just having some game. Because game is information, game is knowledge, and anybody can have game. You don't have to be a pimp to have game, right? And this is what people, fail to mention or don't really put a lot of emphasis on. But it takes more than just game to be this pimping. And it's a lot of cats in the game that understand how shit is supposed to go, but it's just not in them to demonstrate how shit is supposed to go. You know what I mean? A lot of cats know that it's unpimpish, that when the next pimp is sweating they hoe, to come, interrupt the pimping and, pimping doing some classic pimping. He's sweating the bitch. He might have his hands behind his back if he walking her down, or if he riding past, he popping at the bitch. He ain't dirty macking. He not being, aggressive. He not trying to interfere with the bitch's money or any type of shit like that. And you got certain cats that just got a problem with somebody saying something to their bitch, no matter what. And like I said, oftentimes these be the most pimpish motherfuckers in the world. But they know that that's unpimpish. They know that that's not like the coolest thing to do, or it's not like a pimpish type response to a situation. But yet and still, it's just something in them that makes it where they can't resist the urge to interrupt the pimping when pimping is sweating they hoe. It's just something in their motherfucking ass that just makes it where they cannot resist the urge. It's just an urge, and they just fighting the shit. And you know what I mean? They sitting there, and they might, sweat might be dripping down their motherfucking face, and they just fighting the urge to say something to pimping like, all right, I'm gonna let him pimp, I'm gonna let him pimp, I'm gonna let him pimp, I'm gonna let him pimp. Then they just, no, pimping, get away from my bitch. And motherfuckers be ready to fight, get violent, threaten the pimp and all type of shit, man, just behind a pimp doing his job. And the cold part about it, these be the same individuals that will sweat the dog shit out of the next man's hoe, dirty mac the next man, all type of crazy, weird, unpimpish shit, man. But when it come down to a motherfucker getting at they bitch, shit crazy. Shit crazy, man. But hold on, man. It's 97 of y'all in here right now, but only 64 of y'all done wiped your feet off at the door, man. We talking about pimp etiquette, right? This is just etiquette, period. It ain't necessarily just pimp etiquette. It is pimp etiquette, but it transcends beyond just the pimping. When you come into somebody's domain, you wipe your feet off at the door, man. When you come into a pimp's domain, you wipe your feet off at the door. What I mean by that is hit that button that look like this, man. Hit that thumbs up, that like button when you come up in here, man. That's how you wipe your feet off at a pimp's door. Hit that like button, that thing that look like this. Okay, there we go, there we go. I see y'all got some act right around this thing, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for showing some hospitality to a pimp. Y'all know a pimp gonna keep this love shit in his body. But yeah, man. It's funny because speaking of like pimps that's not the most popular, right? It's a cat that I know in the game, veteran pimping, right? And among a lot of his peers, he's not really the most popular dude. But he been doing his thing for a while. He done had some success in the game. He done had some real nice work. His hoes is, some nice quality. Smooth individual, got a whole bunch of game. Pimp etiquette is on point. And, I don't know him as well as his peers, from his area, as well as they know him, right? But the dudes from his area, a lot of them be hating on this man. They be having bad shit to say about this man, right? And this man and myself, like I said, we ain't never really like pimp together for real, but we know who each other is and we got respect for each other, right? But this man, and it goes to show a lot about, it says a lot about the individuals in his area, right? Because you would think that he would do this to somebody closer to him, but he did it with me. He got at me one day. He said, "Yeah, P, man, I really like your style, P. I admire you a whole lot, man. And this whole mind that I had, my bottom bitch, I've been having her for a lot of years, man. But we just not seeing eye to eye no more. Things ain't going right. So our situation ain't probably gonna, continue from this point, man. But I want to see her with some pimping, and I know you some pimping, and I know you the type of pimping that she would fuck with. I know this bitch would like your pimping, man, and she'd be a good fit for your pimping. I see how you move. I know how you are, and I know how she is, man. And I just really think y'all would be a good fit for each other. And he just ran down all the information to me that he could about the bitch. You know what I mean? He told me all the good things about the bitch. He told me the few little flaws about the bitch. You know what I mean? And I really respected the hell out of that, and I admired the hell out of that because, a lot of cats don't have that in them. A lot of cats, if they don't have a bitch no more, they don't want to see the bitch with nobody. They'd rather see the bitch go get a boyfriend, not be in the game, or get married or some weird shit like that. But a pimp want to see the hoe stay in the game. Like me, if a bitch blow for me, I might love the bitch dearly. I might have a lot of love for this bitch. You know what I mean? I might, even miss the bitch a little bit when she gone. But before I see the bitch square up, before I see the bitch get married, before I see the bitch go get a regular 9 to 5 and just leave the game all the way alone, I want to see the bitch with some pimping, even if it ain't my pimping, because I know this is a hoe, and I know the best thing for a hoe is a pimp. And even though she and I might not be seeing eye to eye anymore, I still want to see the bitch happy. I want to see the bitch with some pimping, And as we know, all good things come to an end, but great things begin with good things end. So I want to see the bitch start a great thing with some more pimping, even if our good thing then came to an end. So that's a pimp's mentality, right? And like I said, you have a lot of individuals in the game who understand this. They comprehend that concept. They can articulate it to you. They can break it down to you. But when it comes to demonstrating it, when it comes to behaving according to that, a lot of motherfuckers got a problem with that shit, man. A lot of motherfuckers just ain't cut for this shit. And like I say, this goes to show you that it takes more than just game. It takes more than just information to really, really be this pimping. Because a lot of motherfuckers got some game, a lot of motherfuckers got the information, but when it comes to accepting everything that comes with the pimping, a lot of cats can't do that. A lot of cats, it's like they at a salad bar, you know what I mean, and they want to pick and choose certain shit that they want, that they want to deal with in the game. Or it's like having a pizza. The pizza got onions on it. The pizza got sausage, pepperonis, cheese, different shit on it. You know what I mean? Parmesan. And motherfuckers is like, yeah, I like this pizza, but I don't like this. I want to take this sausage off, man. Or, this pizza's cool, but I ain't going to fuck with these onions, though. When it comes to this game, as the pimping, you got to accept everything that come with it. You got to take the good with the bad. When you pimping accordingly and you pimping by the book, you got to take the good with the bad. And a lot of motherfuckers, they like the benefits of the game, but they don't want to be fully responsible for these benefits of the game. And a part of being fully responsible for the benefits of the game is accepting everything that comes with this shit. Right? A lot of motherfuckers be, like I said, they try to pick and choose certain things about the game that they don't like. You know, don't nobody really, well, I ain't gonna say nobody, because I ain't never really been knocked except for one time. I'm talking about like a true traditional knocking the way it's supposed to go. I've only ever been knocked one time. But in that case, you know, I was kind of relieved. I kind of felt good, you know. But most of the time, that's like a rare instance. But most of the time, pimpin' don't like getting knocked, you know. Especially if it's a hoe that's doing everything the way you like it. See, it come down to just more than just the money. But if a bitch is paying the shit out of you, and you actually like the bitch, you know, y'all got your little inside jokes together. You know what I mean? You know, she follow your instructions to a T. You know, she's just a sponge for your game. You know, she want to soak up all the game from you that she possibly can. She watching you like a hawk to try to, you know, study your every move and learn you to a T so that she can cater to you to a T. Just, you know, when you got a hoe like that or hoes like that, if somebody knock you for a bitch like that, you know, it's not going to be fun. But as the pimpin', you have to learn how to accept that. You have to understand that that comes with the game. Because you might fuck around and knock somebody else for a bitch like that today, you know, got a liking for and paying the shit out of them. You might knock the next man for a bitch like that. So you understand that, you know, what goes around comes around. You know, today it might be me, but tomorrow it might be you. When you some pimping, you just understand this, man, and you accept it. You take the bitter with the sweet. A lot of motherfuckers, they want the sweet, but they don't want to take the bitter that come with it. Stay balanced. Good looking with the $2 holler, you dig? Freeze for President 2024. Yeah, man. Only president I really want to be, man, is a hoes president, man. This motherfucking these politics are so wild, man. If they let me be the president, though, they can't let me be no motherfucking president, because I'm gonna change a whole lot of shit when it comes to that penal system, man. You know, a lot of motherfuckers is getting struck out, 3 strikes and all that shit. A lot of motherfuckers is doing life sentences. They gonna get let out. A lot of people gonna be mad at me. You know, I'm gonna be like Trump. See, that's one thing about Trump. A lot of people probably don't like that shit, but Trump do a lot of shit that he don't give a fuck what nobody think. He gonna do that shit. And one thing Trump do is that Trump get his partners out of jail. If you fuck around, catch a case, and Trump is your homeboy, hey, Trump reaching for you. He gonna get your ass up out of there, man. Sheriff Joe, you know what I mean? They sent Sheriff Joe to 3 years prison time in Arizona. The sheriff, they sentenced his motherfucking ass to 3 years prison time. Trump said, Trump gave that boy a pardon immediately. You know what I mean? And Sheriff Joe is not going to prison. He ain't in prison. He ain't set one foot in that motherfucker for 1 second, and he's not going, thanks to Trump. You know what I mean? It pays to have friends in high places, man. And you know, if they see, that's why they couldn't let a motherfucker like me be president, because everybody who I think is cool, you not going to the pen. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of motherfuckers in there who really shouldn't be in there, and especially for the length of time they be giving motherfuckers, man. So yeah, a lot of motherfuckers gonna hate me being a president. All the pimping getting out. I'm letting all the pimping out. All the pimping, man, if Freeze become president, man, all the pimping getting out. Immediately. Expeditiously. Pimping getting out. But yeah, man, you know, it's just like with anything else in life. When you fully all the way down with something, it's just like squares when they get married. You know, they say for better or for worse. They don't just say just for better. You know what I mean? For better or for worse. You fucking with something, you fucking with something. If you fucking with somebody, you fucking with somebody. And the pimping, if you really the pimping, you fucking with this game all the way. And if you fucking with this game all the way, a part of all the way is getting knocked. Part of all the way is pimps sweating your hoe. And see, this just goes to show you that a lot of motherfuckers ain't who they portray themselves to be, because when you know that you really pimping and you know that you really locked in with this hoe, you don't give a fuck about nobody sweating this bitch. A lot of motherfuckers just don't do their job. They just don't have it in them to do their job. I swear to you, it makes me feel like, damn, is it something special about me or something? I mean, I know the pimping is special, but like, damn, how come it's so easy for me to never trip over a bitch, but it's so many motherfuckers that have that problem? They might not do it all the time, but they have it in them to do it, and they will do it depending on what the circumstance is. Me, I ain't never got into it with pimping behind no bitch. Never. You know what I mean? Now, if a motherfucker dirty macking me to a bitch, that's something totally different. But as far as a motherfucker clean cut, by the book pimping, you know what I mean? I ain't never had no problem with a pimp, you know what I mean, sweating my bitch, trying to have her. Never, that shit has never bothered me. You know, even though I've never taken action, it ain't never been a situation where even I felt like taking action. Like, you know what, man, I don't like the way this motherfucker sweating my bitch. I gotta say something. I gotta step in. I ain't never had that feeling. I don't even know what that shit feel like. You know what I mean? And don't want to know what that shit feel like. You know, that shit sound like, you know, some other shit. I don't want no parts of that shit. But a lot of motherfuckers, they just don't understand it, man. They've never had that feeling of, cause it have been so many times, man. I'll be right there with the pimp and chopping it up, and my bitch will walk past and motherfucker will sweat the shit out the bitch, and he'll never know that it's my bitch. It's some motherfuckers that been kicking it with me and sweating my bitch right in front of me that still to this day do not know that was my bitch that they was sweating. You know what I mean? It'd have been times where it'll take the next pimp to tell a motherfucker. And I'll be like, man, you ain't got to do that. You know what I mean? I remember me and Pimpin' was standing around. There's probably like 8 of us. The Pimpin' just, you know, standing around chopping it up. And my bitch went across the way, and Pimpin' went over there to sweat the bitch. And then this pimp over here was like, nah, P, that's Freeze's game. I was like, man, let Pimpin' do his job, man. You know, I'm not here to protect the bitch, you know, and I don't need no assistance in protecting the bitch neither. You know, I don't like that type of shit. That just, I don't know. And see, as I've said before, it's such a beautiful thing when you let that hoe get sweated. That's what motherfuckers don't understand. You know, motherfuckers be so wrapped up in the thought of losing this bitch that they want to do everything in their power to stop any type of possibility of them losing this bitch. But if they just understood the beauty of letting Pimp and sweat your hoe, you know what I mean? Like, if they really understood the beauty of that shit, they wouldn't have a problem with it. Because like I said, man, you know, it's pressure involved in a hoe getting sweated. And when you understand that pressure, you know, bust pipes and make diamonds, man, you ain't got no problem with no pressure being put on that bitch. But just like I said before, you know, a lot of these motherfuckers, they so used to putting pressure on niggas, they want to put pressure on the pimping and not put pressure on the bitch. They want to put pressure on the man. You know what I mean? They come from a long line of motherfuckers putting pressure on the man. You know, their mama was putting pressure on their daddy with child support and all that other type of shit. You know what I mean? And they hate niggas, so they grow up hating niggas too, like their mama did. You know what I mean? And now they trying to, you know, just like their mama put pressure on niggas, you know, they want to put pressure on niggas. You know what I mean? Shit weird. But, you know, I'm never going to put no pressure on the pimping. I'm gonna put pressure on the bitch, and it makes the game a greater thing for everybody, not just myself and not just for the bitch, but for everybody involved. You know, when you put pressure on that bitch, it just makes the game greater for everybody. A lot of motherfuckers don't understand that shit. Hey, Hot Shot, man, top of it, man. It's a trip, Hot Shot, because I can't remember what video it was, Pete, but I just was talking about you not too long ago, man. I was telling motherfuckers, I'm trying to remember what video that is, man. But Hot Shot, man, you know, I was telling motherfuckers, man, that I really appreciated you back in the day, man, because you was one of them gentlemen in the game, man, that I learned a lot from. And I was telling a story about how a bitch had kicked my door, or had some niggas kick my door in when I wasn't there. Like when I came back to my joint, my door was cracked open. It had a big ass Chuck Taylor footprint, looked like Shaq was wearing a motherfucker, right? And you know, this is a bitch that I didn't really have that long. I only had her for probably a couple days. And she had sent some niggas to my door and they kicked my shit in and I ain't even have no hell of a bunch of shit in there, but they took all my little shit out my joint, right? And I remember some months before that, you and me, we was in Planet Hollywood chopping it up. And you used to just drop game on me like that. And you was like, yeah, P, you know, when you got a fresh bitch, you know what I mean? Don't let that bitch know where you lay your head at, man. You know, because you don't know what that bitch is about. You don't know what her intentions is, man. So, you know, get to know that bitch first, man, and understand who that bitch is before you let her know where you laying your head at, P. And as we say, warning come before destruction. And that was the warning, you know, that came before the destruction, man. But you had dropped that game on me. And then when I didn't take heed to the game, you know, you was one of the first motherfuckers I thought about. I was like, damn, Pimp had just told me about this shit. So, but yeah, that's just one example, man. You know, that's some game that I got from Hot Shot, man. And I appreciate Hot Shot for that. And see, everybody give, you know, a lot of credit to Sinful and myself as far as being some of the sharpest motherfuckers in Vegas back at that time as far as dress code and presentation. But man, that motherfucker Hot Shot, boy, Hot Shot was he was something to see. Oh, shit. I ain't gonna answer that right now. But Hot Shot was something to see, man. When you see Hot Shot step on the scene, he gonna make you want to step your game up. He gonna make you be like, damn, you know what I mean? I gotta step my presentation up. Cause you know, back then it was, you know, it was, you know, I don't like to look at pimping like competition, right? You know, some people see themselves as competition and competing with each other and all that type of shit, but I see certain pimps as, I call them worthy rivals. You know, we not necessarily competing with each other, but we have a worthy rivalry where we might inspire each other. You know what I mean? Not like I'm trying to, you know, knock you out the game, because that's what people who compete with each other do. They try to knock each other out the game. You know what I mean? To where it's only one winner at the end of the game. You know, but pimping is an infinite game for one, so it ain't no end of the game with the pimping. And then two, you know, with the pimping, it could be more than one winner, right? And see, when you have a worthy rival, you and your worthy rival could both come out victorious in the situation, you dig? So, like I say all that to say, I see pimping as worthy rivals of each other. We not really competitors of each other, right? But as worthy rivals of each other, man, you know, back at that time, man, 2007, 2008, man, you know, pimping, you know, we had a lot of worthy rivals amongst each other, man, and we stayed inspiring each other to step our game up. You know, when it came to, you know, the cars that we drove, or you know, the dress code, or jewelry or, you know, the house or, you know, just everything, you know what I mean? All the way down to how them hoes was dressing, you know, we just did everything to have everything around us speak good for our pimping. You know, I want my hoes, the way they look, to speak good for my pimping. You know, the way I dress, I want that to speak good for my pimping. My mouthpiece, the way I talk, you know what I mean? Get at bitches. I want that to speak good for my pimping. The vehicle that I'm driving, you know, I want that to speak good for my pimping. But sadly, man, it ain't a whole lot of that shit going on no more, man. But you know, you should want everything to speak good for your pimping. And that's what I loved about them times, man, back in them early days of Freeze's early days in the game, man. You know, it was fun, man. It was fun. And it was just a beautiful thing to see a lot of pimping doing good. You know, everybody had their ups and downs and shit back then too. You know, motherfuckers go through shit, but it was a lot more pimping doing good back then than it is now. And a big part of the reason for that is because, you know, it was a lot more pimping holding each other down back then than it is now. You know, you've always had your funny type of individuals in the game, but it was just more of a thing back then where if pimping see you down and they know that you really some pimping, they're gonna be like, come on, pimping, let's go campaign. You know, let's jump in the ride, let's go move around, let's get in traffic, man, let's go get in the pimp's place, which is a hoe's face. You know, pimping gonna lift you up. But now, when motherfuckers see you leaking, man, shit weird, man. Motherfuckers be, you know, giving you the cold shoulder. You know, motherfuckers will ghost you. You know, that's some new shit, man. You know, we didn't even know what ghosting was back then, especially dealing with the pimping, man. We wasn't ghosting the pimping. You know, motherfucker might ghost a bitch or something, you know, if a bitch, you know, if pimping come to find out this bitch don't mean him no good in some type of way, you know, pimp might ghost a bitch, but pimping wasn't ghosting pimping, man. Pimping will ghost you now. Well, motherfuckers that say that they some pimping. Motherfuckers that say that they some pimping will ghost you. And that shit is crazy. Shit, hold on, let me get my shit together. All right. Okay, man, I see 140 of y'all done wiped your feet off at the door, but it's 173 of y'all in here right now, man. You know. Hell yeah, how should I say, we had a blast on Las Vegas Boulevard, man. Hey, that shit used to be so fun, man. Man, Vegas Strip was fun back then, man. I had a whole lot of fun back then. We had a blast. For real. Look at T talking about I want that rematch, P. Or I want that rematch ASAP. Hey, T, we probably will do that later on this evening, man. But you know, you already know I'm always with the smoke, with the battles, man, with the music, man. We could definitely do that later on for sure. But yeah, man, you know, any young cats in the game right now that's watching this, and you know you trying to be sharp on all four corners yet well-rounded with this game at the same time, keep that shit in mind, man. Pimping don't trip over the bitch, never. Pimping don't never get into it with pimping about the bitch, never. We don't do that. You know what I mean? And even if everybody you know around you is doing that type of shit, man, that don't make it right, man. You know, because a lot of motherfuckers nowadays, all they care about is the money. And they be so focused on the money that they lose sight of all the pimp etiquette that you're supposed to have about this shit that makes it where the money is better. See, when more people in the game got pimp etiquette, you know, it just trickles down and affects everything and including the money. It makes the money better, you know. Because when we all got pimp etiquette, that means we stand on top of these hoes. We doing our job when it comes to these hoes. And when everybody is doing their job when it comes to these hoes, you know, like I said, everybody is worthy rivals. So when you have a worthy rival, see, when you don't have no worthy rivalry in the game, nobody is like really inspired. You know? Nobody is really inspired to step their game up. And when a motherfucker's inspired to step their game up, and you got a worthy rival, and that worthy rival is inspiring you to step your game up, and then you might be somebody else's worthy rival, and you inspiring them to step their game up, and you might not even understand, you might not even know, you know, it just makes the game greater as a whole for everybody. And man, like I said, it just make it where the money is better for everybody. But now everybody's so focused on the money. And because everybody's so focused on the money and they treating the bitch like the dope sack and all that old type of weird shit, you know, for a lot of individuals, pimp etiquette ain't even a thing. They don't even have a concept of pimp etiquette. But that don't mean that you shouldn't as a young P in this motherfucking game, man. It's a beautiful thing to have pimp etiquette about yourself. You know? And see, when you got pimp etiquette, the hoes gonna have hoe etiquette. And when hoes got hoe etiquette, the game is just that much greater for everybody. That means when you knock the next man for a bitch, if he doing his job as a pimp, you know, it's a high likelihood that you're gonna get, you know, a jewel, a gem, as opposed to knocking a motherfucker for some trash, you know. A lot of times, man, if you knock a motherfucker nowadays, you ain't doing but knocking him for a garbage bag, you know, full of bullshit. You might want to give him that garbage back. Like, oh, hold on, man. I thought this was going to be a gem, man. It's some garbage. Let me get this garbage back to the pimping. You know? And see, like I say, motherfuckers don't care about that type of shit no more. See, me, I don't ever want it to be said, like, damn, man, I knocked the bitch for freeze, man. Bitch that he been having for a minute, man. That bitch was trash. She was a punk, like disrespectful. You know what I mean? Talking to a pimp crazy, give me all kind of problems, trying to run my hoes off. Man, don't make no money. You know what I mean? Trying to bird feed the pimp. I caught the hoe trying to tuck on me. You know, I don't want, like, I would be embarrassed if somebody knocked me for a bitch and that bitch gave him all of those problems. But these motherfuckers nowadays, they don't care. Like, you know, they don't care if somebody knocking for a bitch that they've been having for a minute, you know, and they might have been having this bitch for some years, and then pimping knocked them for that bitch, and she's nothing but problems to the pimping. You know, I want it to be said that, damn, man, I'm not freeze for that bitch, man. She didn't have no problem paying me. And see, that's how you know a motherfucker done did their job with a bitch or not. You know, a lot of these bitches, they'll get out of pocket with a pimp. They'll get on the pimp's line, but they got a big problem breaking themselves. And pimp, you know, a lot of pimps be having to manipulate a bitch and do all kind of smoke and mirrors and all this old type of weird shit just to get the bitch to break herself. But it shouldn't have to be all that. It shouldn't have to be all this song and dance. It shouldn't have to be a circus act for a bitch to break herself to a motherfucker that she knows is a pimp, that she want to fuck with. You know, but when a hoe fuck with some pimping, because I done knocked the bitch like that before, you know, that came from some pimping, and the bitch knew that because she was on my line, how do you want me to send you this money? It's a beautiful thing when you knock somebody like that. You know? And if it's a hoe that I done had for an extended period of time, motherfucker knock me for a bitch like that, the bitch gonna know. Because she's already been trained, bitch. Don't get out of pocket with nobody. Don't get on nobody's line, bitch, because unless you ready to pay that motherfucker. Because if you playing, you know what I mean, you gonna have problems from both ends. You gonna be the monkey in the middle. You know? You ain't gonna want to deal with me once I find out you've been out of pocket playing with motherfucker and you ain't paid him, and you ain't gonna want to deal with him neither. So you're just gonna be in a bad situation. See, that's what I'm talking about, that pressure from both ends. Motherfuckers be scared to put pressure on a bitch now. All they want is the money. How can you crack a good square? Pimp. See, man, I don't want y'all to get into the habit of thinking that, you get all your answers from the internet. Like I tell you all the time, man, I'm not here to teach nobody nothing. But I do want to inspire you to be greater. Now it's a lot of things that you're going to learn as a pimp kick game, but don't think that you're going to be able to learn everything about this game and how to do this shit accordingly just by, watching videos or listening to motherfuckers on the internet or, what have you. And see, this is the thing too. Like you say, how can you crack a good square? Go get at them. Get at some good squares. You know what I mean? And you might not knock the first one. You might not knock the 10th one. You might not knock the 100th one. But if you keep on cracking your whip, you're going to end up knocking somebody. And see, that's the thing. A lot of motherfuckers be scared to fail. A lot of motherfuckers be scared to make a mistake. A lot of motherfuckers be scared to fall down. Scrape their elbows and knees and shit. When you learn how to ride a bike when you was a kid, you didn't get on YouTube and watch how to do that shit. No, you got on that motherfucking bike and you rode and you might have fell down a few times, but you got your ass back up and tried it again, and eventually you was able to ride that motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with this game. You can't, when it comes to this game, you can't just get on the internet and learn everything. You can't be scared. You can't be afraid to try and fail. You can't be afraid of trial and error. Anybody that you admire, if you admire me, understand that it was a lot of failures. It was a lot of hardship. It was a lot of mistakes that factor into the motherfucker that you looking at right now and listening to. I wasn't just born like this. I wasn't just, sharp and polished like this. You know what I mean? Y'all hear the stories I be telling you, man. I made a whole lot of goofball ass mistakes in this motherfucking game. And ain't afraid to make some more mistakes. So you can't be afraid to make mistakes. Anybody else that you admire in this game or just in life, period. Whether it's an athlete, entertainer, whoever. Anybody that you admire that's successful, they made some mistakes. They probably made a whole lot of mistakes. So don't be afraid to make no mistakes. You want to learn how to knock a good square, go get at some good squares. Because no matter what I tell you, I might tell you some shit, look, this is exactly how you go knock you a good square. But that's my experience that worked for me, right? And I might not be telling you certain things because I might not be thinking about, well, damn, the only way I was able to successfully do that is because I failed 1,000 times before. I had 1,000 unsuccessful tries before I got to the point where I was able to do it like this. So it's certain shit I might, unintentionally leave out, explain the shit to you when it comes to knocking a good square. Then when you go try the shit, it's like, damn, Pimp didn't tell me about this. Yeah, that's because you got to do that shit yourself. And certain things work for me, might not exactly work for you. So, prime example, right? One thing that me and my pops used to do, how me and my pops used to bond, we used to work on cars together. Like, back in the days, I had an old school. And whenever I needed to do some work on the old school, I go to my pop's crib, me and him would work on that motherfucker, right? So from that, it's certain things I like to do when it comes to working on cars, right? So it have been times where I want to do some work on a car and I might not exactly know how to do it, and I'll watch a YouTube video on how to do the shit, right? So what was it? Oh, I was changing the spark plugs on this car one time, right? And you know, I'm watching YouTube videos on how to do the shit. And they like, yeah, all you gotta do is stick this down in there and grab it and woo, woo, woo. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So I go to motherfucking AutoZone and I get this part, you know what I mean, to try to get the spark plug out of there, and I go spend money on that shit and time to go there and back and all that old shit. And the shit that this motherfucker on YouTube is saying that they did, that shit ain't working for me. And it's like, damn, you know, then I gotta go dig and do my own due diligence and figure out, oh, okay, this is what that motherfucker ain't explaining. You know, it's a whole different tool that I have to go and get. You know, it's a motherfucking with that particular car, it's a certain type of socket that you stick down in the cylinder or whatever, and you gotta actually unscrew the spark plug. You can't just stick some shit down in there and grab it and pull that motherfucker out. But I had to learn that shit on my own, you know, from trial and error doing this shit. You know, so I say all of that to say, listening to me and watching me, you might get an idea about how to do certain shit, but at the end of the day, how I do it ain't gonna be how you do it. You know, I might spark your mind and get your creative juices flowing as far as how to do some shit, but you ain't gonna be able to do it exactly like me, and you shouldn't even want to do it exactly like me. You know, you should want to go and put your own flavor to it and your own twist to it and go do your own thing. You dig? See, for you youngsters, anybody that's like 25 or younger, you know, I kind of feel bad for y'all because y'all coming up in a time where it's cool to try to be like everybody else, you know, and it's cool to not be original. You know, but I come from a time, man, where, you know, originality was the thing. You couldn't try to be like nobody else. You had to be original, man, especially if you wanted respect among your peers, you know. Goldie say Freeze can't pimp for you, laugh out loud. Nah, man. And a motherfucker shouldn't want Freeze to pimp for me. Right, Rob Carpenter said, yeah, a deep well socket for spark plugs. Now, I don't know. Maybe it is certain cars where you don't need a socket to actually, you know what I mean, unscrew the shit. Maybe it is certain cars where you can just reach some shit down in there and pull it out. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers was saying they had a rubber boot, you know what I mean, from an old, fuck is that shit called? Ignition coil. They had an old rubber boot from an ignition coil, and they was like, yeah, all you gotta do is take this old rubber boot and stick it down in there and pull the spark plug out. Nah, motherfucker, either they was being lazy and not screwing the spark plug in with a socket, or they was just lying. You know what I mean? They was just lying as far as, you know, sticking the old boot down in that motherfucker. Well, nah, actually, I take that back. One motherfucker actually did do that. One motherfucker actually did stick a boot down in there from an ignition coil and pull it out, pull the spark plug out with the rubber boot. But again, that had to have been a situation where the motherfucker was being lazy, because you're supposed to screw the spark plug in. So I don't know how that shit was working. I don't even know how the spark plugs was working without being screwed in, but hey, so he stay on. Yeah, man, so you know, like I said, I'm not here to teach nobody how to do anything. You know, I might inadvertently teach, But that's not my objective. My objective is to inspire, man, because at the end of the day, you know, you can learn how to do specific things, and that's cool. But what's better than learning how to do specific things is developing a mindset where you can figure out things. Because you can be taught how to do certain things, but you might get into a situation if you don't have the right type of mindset. If you haven't been, if you haven't developed the mindset of being able to figure shit out when you're in a situation, then you're gonna be stuck. And you're gonna be trying to call the next pimp, or you're gonna be trying to call somebody else for some game on how to get out of this situation, instead of having the mindset of figuring shit out yourself. Like, I done been in situations where I'll be with somebody and some shit might happen, and they sitting there like, damn, waiting for somebody to figure some shit out. And me, I'm in the midst of figuring this shit out. Like, okay, this need to be done right now. And they sitting back waiting for somebody else to figure the shit out. Nah, we gotta do this right now. Let me see. Rob Carpenter say he probably was talking about using the rubber boot to pull it out after he unscrewed the spark plug. He probably was, but what he failed to mention is the fact that you got to unscrew the spark plug. You got motherfuckers like me who didn't know that shit. You know what I mean? So they probably didn't mention. He didn't mention the fact that it even had to be unscrewed. That motherfucker just made it. Well, actually, it was a few different people. It was like a few different videos I seen where a motherfucker just stick the boot in there and wrap it around the spark plug and pull that motherfucker out. None of them said that you have to unscrew the shit. I had to figure that shit out on my own. You know what I mean? By going back and forth to AutoZone and getting like 2 or 3 wrong ass tools, and then finally figuring out the right tool to go get, you know what I mean? And then figuring out that they have different size, you know what I mean, spark plug well sockets or whatever you want to call them motherfuckers. They got different size ones that you got to get depending on what kind of car you got. All that old type of shit, you know what I mean? I had to take, man, that day I probably took like 10 trips to AutoZone. Where if a motherfucker would have did a thorough ass video, you know what I mean, I wouldn't have had to have that problem. But even beyond that, I'm glad, because, see, that's a prime example of me being in a situation and having the type of mindset where I'm going to figure the shit out regardless, Now, if I was the type of motherfucker that didn't have the mindset to figure shit out on my own, I would have just been stuck waiting for somebody else to, give me the answers to the shit on how to do it, But that's just the pimping in me, though, because pimping, you have to be like that as the pimping. Because a bitch might be in a situation with a trick, and the bitch might be like, I'm over here with this trick. He got this much money, right? Ooh, how, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And she telling you the situation, verbatim to a T. She giving you the mental picture of everything that's going on around there and how the money is like this. And, she don't understand how she can get it. You got to be a critical thinker as the pimp. You got to be like, hold on. You got to be able to think quick and get a bitch a solution quick, because it might not be a whole bunch of time for her to be able to pull this shit off. You want to strike while the iron's hot. But if you're not the type of person to figure shit out on your own, you're going to be trying to call 5 different other pimps. Like, hold on, bitch, I'm going to call you back. You call this pimp, he can't give you an answer. You call this pimp, he not giving you an answer. This pimp ain't answering the phone. This pimp phone going straight to voicemail. You know what I mean? All type of other shit. But you don't have a mindset of figuring the shit out on your own, so you ain't gonna be able to get a bitch the answer, and the bitch ain't gonna be able to figure it out on your own, on her own, and you just gonna miss out. You did? But T, I'm gonna let you know what time we gonna do the battle. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up right here, right now. You know, I just want to chop it and pop it with y'all. You know, make it kind of short and sweet, even though we've been live for an hour. It don't even seem like it. But as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for all your comments, your feedback, questions, all that good shit. I appreciate you all for subscribing and hitting the bell when you subscribe. I appreciate you wiping your feet off at the door, hitting that thumbs up button when you stepped into a pimp's domain. If you haven't wiped your feet off at the door coming in, wipe your feet off going out. You dig? And I can't see right now if you gave a Cash App. If you did give a Cash App, I appreciate you. If you subscribe to the Patreon, I appreciate you. If you gave a PayPal, I appreciate you. You dig? Put some more of this love in my body one more time before we go. Cheers to the game. Freezes it. I holler. If you out in traffic, moving around, please do so in a safe fashion.